What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, this might be the worst Lakers team in history, just in terms of the non-chemistry. Everybody's not on the same page. They can't beat any good teams. They don't play defense, have an aging superstar. Russell Westbrook can't find his place while everybody's on the floor, all superstars on the floor. And Anthony Davis is hurt from night to night. I mean, the last time I think I seen the Lakers somewhat similar to this as being this dysfunctional, it might have been when Dwight Howard and Steve Nash were on the Lakers. But Steve Nash was out of his prime. Dwight Howard was falling from grace out of his prime. And Kobe was still in his prime and just had a couple guys who really just weren't, a fit for the organization. But even though I can't say much about Steve Nash because, like I said, he was really on his last legs. I think he had a leg injury or something like that back then that kind of prevented him from playing the way, he should. And then he just got thrown to the Lakers from Phoenix, which was a slap in the face to him. But that's another story for another day. But when you look at this Lakers team, it looked like when you watched them last night against the Milwaukee Bucks, it looked like they had no business being on the floor with them. You got three superstars. Giannis has himself and two little mini players, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. And, those are good players, but respectively, they're not Anthony Davis. They're not Russell Westbrooks. They're just not. But when you look at this team and how they're playing, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense what is going on with this team. And I know Russell Westbrook is a problem. He's always been a problem. But as I said before in several videos ago, if anybody can help make Russell Westbrook a better player, or maybe not even a better player, but help Russell Westbrook to tune his game a little bit to where you can win, would be LeBron James. Because he's always been the type of player that can rally the troops, get guys to play a certain way, and get his guys involved in a way where they can be effective, and so can he. But in this situation, as I said before, it just doesn't work. Russell Westbrook can't stretch the floor. Nowadays, this NBA now, you need shooters. You don't need guys that just stand there on the perimeter and slash into the basket. It's good to have those players, but it's even more so better to have snipers from the three-point line, because that allows LeBron James to penetrate to the basket how he chooses to. And when he does draw double teams, he makes teams pay by kicking it out to the three-point line and let the three-point shooter cook. And that's the reason why when Malik Monk is in the game, he fits a lot better with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, because he can stretch the floor, he could take you off the dribble, and he could finish around the basket underratedly. So, when you have a Russell Westbrook on there, when you're sitting in fourth quarters and you're not playing him in fourth quarters, you're going to get a frustrated Russell Westbrook, in which now I know he is. He says of the night, because they won when he got taken out overtime, the win is all that matters. That's not all that matters to Russell Westbrook. Russ wants to be in the game fourth quarter, make splash plays. He wants to be the guy. He wants to be the alpha male, because that's what he's used to on OKC. And when he won the MVP, that just went to his head even more when he was on OKC, even though a lot of players said they basically helped him get it because they let him get those triple doubles. They let him get 10, 12 rebounds a game. Steven Adams even said he let him stand out. He stood out the way at times to let him get the rebound just so he can get it. So even though he had help, he still earned it though. So you got to give him credit there. But at the same time, Russ doesn't want to be sat down in fourth quarter. He damn sure don't want to be sat down no overtimes. And that right there on its own is not going to work for the Lakers, because you're going to have a disgruntled employee basically in Russell Westbrook who's going to make the operation fail even more, because now that it looks like that's the direction that it's going, when he is in the game, he's going to be even more reckless. And that's just the way it's going to be, because he's going to try to take every single opportunity he has and not even think about winning, which he never really been a big part of before anyway, unless he had Kevin Durant or somebody like that on his team. Maybe even James Harden. But this is my point. The problem with the Lakers is all around. It's not really just one person. Now, Russ is a big part of it. I'll give you that. But I mean, it's everybody at this point. because LeBron can't do what he used to do and carry a team, but he also can't play defense the way he used to. AD stays hurt, and Russ is just Russ. And if your three superstars, or at least 2 out of 3 superstars, I should say, is uncertain, you're probably not going to win a championship. Now, as far as the Russell Westbrook situation, I don't know what they're going to do with this guy, because at this point, it just doesn't seem like they can trade him. He is owed $44+ million on his contract. What team is going to take that amount of pressure or that amount or that huge amount of a contract for a player who can't help them win? I mean, every team in the NBA is trying to win. Now, if you're going to trade him to a team like the Orlando Magic, or something like that, or a team that he was on, like the Wizards, teams that are not going nowhere, maybe they'll take Russell Westbrook. But if a team has an opportunity to win a championship, or if they feel like they're on the cusp of winning a championship, or they're pretty close, they just need one additional piece, they're not going to take Russell Westbrook off the Lakers' hands. They're just not going to do it, because that's like trading a problem for a problem. You're not upgrading with Russell Westbrook. You're just really downgrading at this point. He'll get you stats. He'll get your team some looks on SportsCenter. He'll get you things like that, but he won't get you championships. That's not the type of superstar he is. He's a stats superstar. And that's all he's ever going to be, unless somebody helps him or wins the championship for him. And it sucks to say that, because Russell Westbrook is a top 75 player of all time. So it's like, when you look at a top 75 player who can't help a team win a championship, or doesn't even look like he can help a team win a championship, that's really, really bad. And it's getting worse and worse watching the Lakers, because to me, when 1 or 2 superstars are out of the lineup, one plays well, they may win a game or 2 here and there, or they'll lose a game while one of the superstars are playing well and have big numbers, but it doesn't matter. It's almost like a few nights ago or last week when they played the Clippers. Anthony Davis had a monster game, but what was the ending result? A loss. Now, they didn't have LeBron James, but would it have made much difference? Maybe it would have. But I mean, we can't say that for sure. All 3 of them been on the floor several times this year. All 3 of them been on the floor a lot of games this year, and they lost collectively as a team, all together. So you can't say LeBron could just make everything magically work and magically happen, because if he could, they'd be a better team than what they are now. They're like 3 games under 500, predominantly with all 3 of them playing most of the games this season, or a good portion, I should say, of the games this season. Anthony Davis is going to get hurt during the season, so you got to kind of factor that in. But it's really sad to see, because when this team was been assembled, you thought they would at least be maybe a 5th or 4th or 5th seed, 6th seed at the most. You didn't think they'd be like no 9th seed or possibly 10th seed, maybe a play-in tournament team. That's not what most people saw. At least I didn't feel like that's what I saw in this team. Now, I didn't think they would be a championship team like everybody was anointing them in the beginning or before the season started. It's them versus the Nets in the finals. Well, so far, that doesn't look so good, because the Nets, they don't know what they're going to do with James Harden. And I don't know if James Harden wants to play for the team anymore, just because he's in disarray because of what Kyrie is doing. Who in the world wants to play with a part-time player? No, if you don't want to get vaccinated and help your team and be there for home games and build chemistry, just because you want to think what you want to think and the world revolves around you, James Harden is not for that. And Kevin Durant shouldn't be either. If I were them, I'd trade Kyrie Irving, to be honest. But I mean, hey, that's another story for another day as well. But the Lakers, they don't look like no championship team. And so far this season, they don't even look like a playoff team. And that's really, really sad to say, because I can't remember the last time a Lakers team didn't even at least look like they could make the playoffs. There were struggling years with Kobe. Yes, there was. But they at least always predominantly made the playoffs, and they look like a playoff team at minimum. It's just the Lakers are so catastrophic in regards to being in high regards of a nuclear team. It's championship or bust with a Lakers team every single season. But this team right here doesn't even look like they can even survive the first round of the playoffs. And whoever they play, I mean, think about it. If they happen to play the Warriors, the Suns, or Memphis in the first round, I don't think they could beat any of those teams in the first round if they happen to make the playoffs. I don't think so. So it's like, when you look at this team, where do they go from here? They really can't trade Russ. Nobody wants him. And if they do try to make a trade, what are they going to get in return? Nobody's giving up a valuable piece for a player like Russell Westbrook. I mean, think about it. The Kings don't even want to give up Buddy Hield for Russell Westbrook. And Buddy Hield's a really good player, but he's not a top 75 player. But that just goes to show you what teams think of Russell Westbrook. They don't even want to give up a good role player for Russell Westbrook because he is just utterly trash in regards to helping you win. And every team wants to win. They don't want to just have stats and somebody, putting up triple doubles that are empty calories and don't mean anything. They want those stats equating into winning, which can help their organization build, and they can build around that player and have other players want to come there. Other players not going to want to come to a team where Russell Westbrook is on because from what you're looking at now, if you didn't know in the past, you can't win. Kevin Durant said it years ago. Russ is a great player, but I can't win with him because he just doesn't have winning intangibles. He couldn't win with Paul George. He couldn't win with James Harden. Now, he couldn't win. He can't win with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I mean, really, the proof is there. I don't know what else needs to be said or what else needs to be done, but whatever the Lakers need to do, they got to try to find a way to either make him understand you need to come off the bench, roll with the second unit, or maybe try to find a way to get him out of there. But that's going to be really tough because I don't know if nobody wants a $44 million contract to take on that high of a contract for a player in which they can't utilize to help better their franchise. That is way too much money to be taking on a player. Now, if he was making $14 to $20 million a year, well, then maybe the Lakers might have some leverage, but they have no leverage because that's way too high of a contract for a player who doesn't show the value of the money that he's getting paid. So, I mean, LeBron is stuck. LeBron is frustrated. So is the organization. And I'm pretty sure the organization is thinking they need to make a move. Everybody in the locker room is thinking they probably need to make a move. But last night against the Bucks really just showed it. The Bucks had 38 points in the first quarter. I knew then, I said, the Bucks are going to blow this team out by 20, probably. I mean, I just knew it. Because the Bucks were getting anything they wanted. It was no struggle. Giannis being Giannis. Giannis scores like 44 points. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. The non-defense, just everything with the Lakers is a mess. But we'll see how the season pans out. It's not quite over yet. We still got 30, 40 games left in the season. We'll see what happens with the Lakers. But right now, it's just not looking good. Not looking good at all. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments in the comment section, as always. And hey, Khaliis out.